Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the ANZCAR Cup for the first round, the penultimate round of the 2022 Chase. We have 10 rounds left of the season. I am Carl Wilkinson with you. Joining me up here in the booth is Mr. Mark, Mark Johansson. How are you going, Mark?
Yeah, good, mate. Back up from last night and really looking forward to this one. I'll let you lead into it. I was going to say there's a number of guys that can get on top here, but we've got a few things to go through first, Carl, and I'll let you start the ball rolling with that.
Absolutely, and of course, Mr. Matty Hunter on the cams. Good day, Matt. How you going?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you.
Good, good. All right, let's go through it. So we got the Chase. Now, if you're new to the Cup series, the Chase is effectively a restart of the championship. So the leaders of the regular championship, they get a little bit of a points advantage you would have seen beforehand. So Andrew Dyson is leading 1 point ahead of Hobson. Then it goes to Pearson, who is a point behind him. Foster in fourth, point behind them. Then a point down. So Jason Martin, Micklemore, Skurlock, Heddershide, Phelps, and then Trahair in 10th position, who is 9 points off the leader. So we effectively restart the championship. So it gets closed up, and then any of those drivers are in with a shout. Of course, we are missing Luke Trahair tonight as he's off gallivanting around the globe. So unfortunately, he is not going to be getting this one, but that does not mean he is out of the running. We've seen before that the first round of the Chase is not necessarily the end of the world if you don't have a good one. And here at Darlington, that can absolutely be the case. Last couple of years, we've seen the winner of the Chase not having a good first couple of rounds and then coming strong in the latter stages, and that winner of the first Chase race falling behind a little bit as we go on. So will we see the same thing this year? It's going to be an interesting couple of rounds with 10 races left of the 2022 season. Who is going to be your ANZCAR Cup champion? We have 10 drivers in contention. Who will it be at the end of it? Tonight, it is looking to be a good one, and probably one of the favourites here at the track is going to be Neil Pearson. He is very good here at Darlington. The Lady in Black does favour him.
Yeah, definitely. The money's got to be on him, but you also got to keep an eye out for Mr. Foster. I know he likes it around here. And going on last night's results, mate, from the Xfinity cars, the real dark horse has to be the 06 of Reuben Phelps. He started 13th last night in the Xfinity and came home to finish second. So that was a great drive by him last night.
Yeah, strategy is going to be an interesting one here tonight. Obviously, Darlington is a very tricky track, very short track, just 2.2. What's that in miles? 1 mile. I'm trying to think now. One and a bit miles, 1.3 miles long. So it's a relatively short track. It is very demanding on the tyres. The right tyres will be screaming after about 12 to 15 laps, and that can be a feature here. So obviously getting the car around. Cautions can be one of those things that can change the race very quickly, but we have seen in the past here at Darlington that sometimes cautions don't come, especially with a slightly smaller field that we have tonight. We only have about 21 cars out there tonight, so it's a slightly smaller field. Not everybody's favourite track, Darlington, hence the slightly smaller turnout, and that could mean that we go green from flag to flag.
Yeah, definitely. I was just talking to a couple of drivers before the race in the practice there, Carl. Tonight, they're probably looking at about a 52 lap run on fuel. So you're going to see quite a few guys dive into the pits and maybe look for that undercut early to get out in some clean air. But also the tyres here. A couple of the drivers are saying with the temperatures and that of today, it's after about 16 laps, the rear end feels like it's on ice. So that's going to maybe catch a few people out.
Yeah, these low-profile tyres have really changed things up, and they're going to be something that could be something that could change tonight's race as well. We had the Xfinity cars here last night, of course, with the Thunder, being brought to you by with the angelic voices of Mark Johansson and the more more devilish voice of Mr. Edward Foster. But we saw in that race the tyres were key. Some people were just doing the right side only in pit stops, especially under green, just saving that little bit of time. So expect to see some people trying that strategy tonight. We could see some rights only. That does, of course, mean the car is a bit unbalanced. And we know with these low profile tyres, that can sometimes be a bad thing. But we are getting ready for the start of the race. The practice session is over and done with, and the cars are going to be lining up on the grid. So let's run through your starting order tonight. It is Jason Martin taking the pole position here, first in the row for the chase, with Brenton Hobson on his outside on row 2. Row 1. Row 2, we have Pearson and Wayne Burke. Wayne Burke having a really good qualifying session there up in the second row. Row 3 is Daniel Hedershide with Stevie Dubb. We move on to row 4, and it is Dyson and Foster. Row 5, we have Urquio and Skurlock. Urquio is going to be hoping that nobody drives into any power lines near him tonight. Row 6 is Douglas and Micklemore, showing the yellow paint tonight for Micklemore, hoping that's going to bring him some luck. Row 7 is Russell and Maddie Ray. Of course, Mr. Sheen will hope to keep it clean. Row 8, Noddy Tompkins sitting behind his teammate with Darren Lobb there in the DPR car. Row 9, we have Norman Clark with Tom Freer. On row 10 is Tristan Koch and that man we mentioned before, Reuben Phelps. Keep an eye out for Rubes. He could have a good run tonight. And then finally, at the back of the pack, we have Jamie Nankervis. He's going to be hoping for a solid run tonight. This could be a chance for some of those drivers to get a solid finish tonight, maybe even their maiden top 5 finishes or even a podium tonight. So they will be really looking for it. It's a good opportunity for drivers to get a good finish here at Darlington.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I know all our eyes have been on the likes of Daiso and Josh and others, but I mean to say, some of these guys that down the back can quite easily get through here tonight, and we've seen it last night in the Xfinity cars for a great race. So my money is on one car out there in the field.
I see you spreading your bet thin there, Mark. But I mean, I think we're guaranteed to see one car out in the field take a victory, so that is something. But we are getting ready for the green to drop here at Darlington, of course. Pace car pulls in the inaugural round of the ANZCAR Cup. Chase is ready to go. It's going to be Jason Martin leading us away, waiting for the restart zone, and we are going to be going green here at Darlington for the first round of the chase. Only 9 more after this, and we go green. Martin gets a good start on the low line. Looks like Hobson just pulls away a little bit slower, and that's going to give Pearson a good run on the low line. Watch the cars through turn 1. They just got to make it through here. It's very hard to do. It's very easy to make a mistake here. Looks like they're making it through 1 and 2 quite well. Hobson caught right up on the high side there. Wayne Burke as well, just falling back a little bit. He's got looks like he's got Hedershide on the inside at the moment. You don't want to be running too wide for long here. You want to try and slip into that single file motion quite quickly. Don't want to be running that low line. High line is the one to be on. Cars moving down a little bit in the background. We see Skurlock dropping back in the foreground there. He's just pulling back out of the rest of the pack, just getting into a position where he can get a run later in this race, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he may have had an internet problem, but he's just done what you said, Carl. Just dropped to the back and going to make a late race charge, I'd say.
Yeah, it can be a wise decision to sit towards the back end of the pack here at Darlington, because an accident can happen quite quickly. It's quite a narrow track here, and it's easy for the cars to ping pong off the walls.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got 100. Sorry, Matt, what was that?
Sorry, I was muted there. Looks like Dave Douglas has had a connection issue and dropped out.
Yeah.
He was there and he's gone.
Yeah, Douglas absolutely vanished off the screen. He was just going out of the corner just behind Urquio, and across the line he goes and disappears into the Shadow Realm. So Dave Douglas being banished early into the Shadow Realm, unfortunately, and that's a shame, because that's the driver that will have been in contention tonight. I think, honestly, we've got about 10 to 15 drivers in contention for a win here tonight. It's anybody's race. And, it's just keeping that car in a good position. These early laps, You don't want to be pushing too hard, of course. We have seen with this next-gen car, although it's been around for some time now, the early laps can be quite perilous on the tyres as they're a bit cold. Take a couple of laps to get up to temperature. And then, as you were saying before, Mark, once they do get up to temperature, they can get a little bit snappy at the rear.
Yeah, definitely. Just looking here, Daiso's giving Daniel a bit of a hurry-curry, making his cars see very well in the mirrors there. But I'd say Daiso is just going to sit there and wait for Hedder to make a mistake, and then he'll pounce. By looks through the field, mate, everyone's just settled down into a nice rhythm now. It's 160 laps around here tonight, so it is quite a long race. So everyone's got to play for the long game.
Yeah, that's it. You can't win a race in the first lap, but you sure as heck can lose it. So just keeping the car settled is key here. There's quite a big gap formed behind Urquiote and Maddie Ray at the moment. So there has been a little bit of a gap falling out there. So we have seen a few cars just moving around a little bit. And that has made a little bit of difference. Of course, one thing you have to watch out for here at Darlington is the Darlington stripe as well. We saw a big moment just a couple of moments ago on lap 6 with Darren Lobb, and I think it was Tom Freer. Darren Lobb just getting a little bit of contact on the rear panel, and he managed to save it. But a big moment there. That would have been a deep inhalation of breath for Lobb, and a big moment for him.
Just looking at the battle here between Jaden Russell and Stevie Dubb, mate. Jaden's filling the rear vision mirror with the front of his car, and he was another one that had a great run last night until he came up with some issues. So he's another one that's sitting in ninth at the moment and just playing the waiting game like most of these guys will be tonight for the first, I'd say, 100 laps.
Very much so, and I might see if Matt can get a camera view of Neil Pearson's right front panel of his car, because he has just got himself a Darlington stripe. Of course, the Darlington stripe, Mark, a part of this track.
Yeah, it definitely is. I don't think I've been to 2 or 3 real live races here, and I've only seen once where there's been cars come away without any type of stripe down the right hand side. So, and it doesn't take much to bend these panels on these cars with the safety barrier. Now it's even a slightly narrower track.
Yeah, of course, the safer barrier takes away some of the track. Of course, it's got it's almost like a big spring behind it. It's a sort of 2 separate barriers, and that's actually reduced the width of a lot of tracks, and that changes the exit of the corners a bit as well. And it's a great innovation, of course. Back in the 2000s, it was brought into oval racing, and it was a fantastic idea and a great thing to come in, but it has changed some of the track's configurations just that little bit. It's not by much, but it is just enough to make the exit of the corner sometimes be a little bit tighter than they used to be. Not too much damage to Pearson's car on the 09, but on the number 9, but he did have a little bit of a slide along the wall. A few cars have just had that little moment, a couple of little grinds on the wall, nothing major. The one thing you've got to watch out for, though, is if you get a heavy hit, you can absolutely damage the suspension geometry, and that could really leave you in trouble in the latter stages of this race.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to look after that front nose and have a good aero right over the car at this joint. Just with the safety barrier, mate. Even the entry into the turns have changed because of the. Some blokes used to like getting right up against that outside wall and making this track into like a diamond. So it changed a lot of things for a lot of places.
Yeah, it absolutely has, and it's changed many oval in the day. But the good thing is it has saved a lot of lives in its inclusion as well. I'm trying to think back. I think it was 2002 it was introduced. I'm trying to think now back in the days, because it was back when I was actually working in the industry, which was that long ago, that my memory is not that good at it. But it is just a fantastic thing. But it has indeed changed the way many of these tracks have come. And of course, the big thing with that is you can't really move the barriers back on these tracks, so you're kind of stuck where you are. Just see there quickly, Noddy Tompkins, he's fallen back from the rest of the pack. He's had a little bit of a moment, I would say, or just going a little bit slower at the moment. Just slowly approach from Tompkins, which is not a bad idea here at Darlington. Obviously, you're probably going to go down a lap quite quickly. It's not a long lap here, only a 30-second lap. But if you can keep the car clean and keep it out of trouble, you're going to be looking good for the latter stages of the race.
Williams just touched the wall there.
Oh, and Dyson has a huge slide out of turn 4 as well. Rear of that car absolutely lit up. He saved that one somehow. That was a big moment for him. Great car control as always from Daiso. He is something of a specialist there, and he's getting a run on Heddershide now, looking to make the run for Heddershide. Goes nice and quite low in there. Beautiful dive there. Manages to hold it through the corner. Almost makes contact with the wall. Great job for saving that car. But we are in the danger zone now. Those rears starting to get a little bit hot. The grip will be there if you can keep the tyres cool, but I think the issue is a few people are starting to get a little bit of a hot tyre now, and that is causing the car to just get a little bit squirrely on the exit.
Yeah, the pace has dropped right off, Carl. We're now into the low 30s, and that's the whole field just about in the 30s now. Jason Martin's last lap was a 30.1. Pearson's was a 30.2. And same with Mr. Hobson, he was a 30.2.
Tom Freer just taking a big bite out of the barrier, and that's going to give Reuben Phelps a run on him across the start-finish line. Phelps going down the inside into turn 1 and gets the move done. Phelps moving up the road quite quickly. A little bit further forwards in the pack as well. Who was that having a big moment? That was Jaden Russell. J. Russ just getting a huge snap as he was trying to get past Stevie Dubb. Just got down on that low line, got a little bit too low, and the back end stepping out, trying to turn that corner a bit. One of the big issues, of course, is when you go on that low line, you're making that corner much tighter, and that starts to cause more, it puts more pressure on the tyre effectively, gets more heat into there, and then the back end will step out a little bit quicker, and that's what happened to Jaden Russell a lap or so ago when he was trying to make the move on Stevie Dubb. It's not the easiest place to overtake out here at Darlington. You can get it done, but you've just got to get it done at the right stage.
Yeah, like last night, Carl, you've got to make the move as you come down the straight. So you've got to position your car to come out of the corner, get a better drive than the guy in front of you, and make that pass down the straight. And like Ed said last night, if you're not halfway up or not past that car or level with him, by the time you're halfway down the straight, you might as well kiss that pass goodbye and drop that back in behind.
Tom Freer coming in pit lane at the moment in the 707. I reckon he's coming in to get some repairs done at least. He took a heavy bite into the wall, and I think he's actually taken that one behind the barrier. Big impact on that car, so that was a heavy contact for him. So I think he's got some repairs that need to be done, unfortunately. Possibly some damage to the suspension on his car as well.
Sorry, mate. Jaden Russell's got past Stevie Dubb. Perfect move. Come out of turn 2 and got the run nicely done down the down the back straight.
Beautiful job there from J. Russ, who has just been coming on leaps and bounds. Driver that has really been improving in the series. Of course, great on the dirt stuff, but has been making leaps and bounds on the solid ovals as well. It's been great to see. And now Stevie Dubb's fallen into the grass. Josh Micklemore as well. We saw Micklemore having a bit of a rough night last night in the Xfinity car. Seems to be a little bit more comfortable tonight in the Cup car. Not quite struggling at this stage of the race. We're only 24 laps in though. Of course, that can soon start to fall away. His teammate though, Jason Martin, is in the lead at the moment, having a great run out the front. the purple Mitch Motorsport car. Like old times at the moment, it is Jason Martin in the lead with Pearson just behind him. Hobson in third position. Fourth position is Wayne Burke, who's having a great run at the moment. Burke, one of the newcomers to the series, having a really good run at the moment. And he's having a good run there in fourth. I just saw a big bunch of smoke. I'm just trying to figure out where that came from. Who was that? That was Noddy Tompkins having a big moment out of turn 4. He had a big moment. The car just got locked up in the Geico restart zone. He absolutely got sideways. Managed to save the car, get it back going, but he has got some damage to the left rear panel, and he's out in front of the leaders now, about to go a lap down. Who's that in the background?
Sorry, mate. We've just had
Hobson
fall back 2 spots. Mr. Hobson's got past him, and Dyson's trying to make the pass on him now.
Yeah, it looks like Burke made a move on Hobson, and that did not help him out. His teammate not helping him out there, because Hobson just had to run a little bit wider, and he caught the wall, and that caused Dyson to have a run on him. So it is Dyson and Hobson side by side at the moment, the two guys in the lead of the chase. As it stands, of course, Dyson, the chase leader. Hobson is in an unenviable position, though, because he can't turn in at the right stage, so he's just got up in the wall again. It is Dyson and Hobson battling it out, and Dyson has got the better of him at the moment in the 41 DPR car. The number 88 Synergy car just dropping back a little bit, and they are falling into the grasp of the 2 Natari cars of Hedderscheid and Foster, with J. Russ on the tail of those. So this has really backed up that little pack. Meanwhile, Burke has managed to get a little bit of a gap from them. So he's pulled out a nice little bit of a gap now. And this has given Pearson and Martin a bit of breathing room as well at the front.
And these guys are coming up on the back of Nobby Thompson, who's down, he does the right thing and moves out of the road, moves to the low line and let these 5 cars train go. So, well, he turned.
I was about to say he's got to be careful down there, and the caution is out. Noddy Tompkins going down on that low line to let the cars get through. The trouble is, when you get down on that section, there is not a lot of banking, and what's happened is it's just pitched the car around. Absolutely not a mistake from Noddy, just not realising it there. It caught him out a little bit, in all honesty. It's one of those things here at Darlington, you're actually better off sort of waiting till you get to the straight before you drop down, not doing it in the corners. He's done it in the corner, and that has caused him to loop it around, and that is the first caution tonight, lap 28, I think it was. And will we see some people coming into pit lane? We do indeed. Everybody is coming into pit lane. We've got a whole spat of cars coming in now. It is Martin leading it. So all of the drivers coming into pit lane, they're making their first stop tonight. Going to top up on fuel. Who is going to change tyres? Are they all going to take a set of tyres? Of course, drivers are limited to 4 sets of tyres in the race. So that means that you start with a set. You have 3 sets of tyres to go through the race. So it might be wise just to get fuel right now. Of course, new tyres are going to make an advantage. Will we see people just taking rights only? Will we see people taking the full 4 sets? That is going to be the interesting one. Martin taking tyres. Looks like he's taking all 4. Foster just taking the right side. So Foster's going to come out in the lead. Foster just taking rights only. That has jumped him ahead of the rest. It looks like Reuben Phelps as well only took right sides. Same with Jamie Nankervis and Darren Lobb. So only a few drivers opting to take the rights only. But Foster using that, taking the rights only and jumping out into the lead of this race. So, Mark, I mean, we both race. We know how it goes, but taking the right side only, how does that affect you in a race like this? What's the difference between taking all 4 and just taking the right side?
Look, the car will be unsettled for the first couple of laps until that right side comes up. But a lot of the guys here will be driving the cars off the right rear, so it's going to benefit just having that right rear fresh, and you'll find that these guys will get pick up speed. The guys that are taking just the 2 rights a little bit quicker than bringing all 4 tyres up. It'll take a fraction longer for the cars to settle with on the all four. But in saying that too, Carl, you've got to be careful on the restart that you don't turn the car around with just taking the rights.
Do, and looks like Reuben Phelps has come back into pit lane. So he actually only took fuel last time round. And again, this time round, he's just taking a little bit more fuel. So Reuben's not taking tyres by the looks of it. So interesting little strategy call there from Reuben Phelps. So he's decided to not take tyres at all. He is just taking fuel. So he's just topped up on fuel just to get that little bit longer. Interesting little strategies there.
Yeah, I was talking to Reuben before. He felt fairly comfortable in the car earlier on this afternoon in the practice. So, you know, he ran long last night. I think he did 65 laps almost on that first set of tyres in the Xfinity Cup. I know that's a different car and everything, but I'd say he's probably feeling the same way he did last night in that car. He's feeling confident, so he's going to try and get the maximum life out of these tyres.
And he's going to have an extra set of tyres up his sleeve, and this could really work out well for him if we have a few more cautions in this race. So that's going to be interesting to see how it works up. The cars are starting to line up 2 by 2. The Noah's Ark of NASCAR is happening. Of course, we are going to get to the restart zone. Of course, restart zones introduced into iRacing this season, of course, rather than the old way where it was just going when you're ready. There's a little zone you'll see on the side of the track, the Geico restart zone, where you are basically free to go in that little section. If you get to the end of it, then everybody is free to go. So Foster's going to lead away. He's just got to be careful now. He's only got those 2 fresh tyres on the outside. When will he drop the hammer in the restart zone? He's holding back, he's holding back, he's holding back. And away we go. Foster gets a nice start there, softly on the accelerator. Well done from him. Managed perfectly from Foster. Very easy to spin a car when you've got fresh tyres on the right side and old tyres on the other side. It is an easy thing to do, but you can see now the advantage of those 2 fresh tyres. Look at Martin and Pearson, 3 wide. Martin goes down the middle. Beautiful job from Jason Martin.
That was a brave move there.
That was a big move from Jason Martin. That was fantastic stuff. That is a highlights reel for sure. We're still 2 wide behind him though. Foster has got looks like Burke and Hobson on his inside. Foster is struggling a little bit on the restart. Looks like the fresh tyres are actually paying off. All 4 fresh tyres are paying off much more than the rides only at the moment. Foster's just looking to struggle a little bit as the car's not quite settled. He's got 2 tyres that are straight up to temperature and then 2 tyres that are sort of not quite there, and he is really struggling with that at the moment.
Yeah, that's it's unusual. I know with us here, Foster's the master of taking 2 tyres on the longest races that we run at the Warriors, but he just seems to be struggling here tonight. It's and I know he said last night he doesn't mind this track.
No, Foster is extremely good at here at Darlington, so that tells me that the 2 tyres definitely are not working. So that is going to be information for all of the drivers now that they have got. That 2 tyres definitely not working. We might see once the outside sort of evens out a little bit, once the temperatures start to work out a little bit, that it then comes up to speed. Just looking at some of the other 2 tyre drivers, and they've dropped back as well. Darren Lobb is falling back. He's actually fallen back behind Reuben Phelps, who didn't take any tyres. So Reuben Phelps on the older tyres has got a little bit more speed than some of those drivers that took fresh tyres. Of course, his tyres will get up to temperature much quicker. He'll start struggling a little bit for pace once everybody's up to temperature as well. But it tells me that it's more of a temperature thing than an actual wear thing at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely looks like way today, at least anyway. I probably would have gone for the two tyres myself if I was running. But obviously, it's we're still to go to Darlington again this year, so it's one to stick in the memory banks for when we go there.
Exactly, it's definitely crucial information, and at this stage of the race as well, this is crucial information for later on. We saw Michael Skurlock drop right to the back of the pack in the 350 earlier. He's up into ninth position now, so he's worked his way up nicely, and he is pulling away from Foster, who is just hemorrhaging time at the moment. He's got Lachlan Acquio just about to make a move on him, and he does indeed. The 42 going down the inside at the moment, down into turn one. As who's that in the background having a big spin? I think we're going to get a caution flag. We have indeed.
Out.
Who was that going around
the 99
in the background?
car.
Darren Lobb. Lobb was actually one of those drivers on 2 sets only. And he's just had a big moment on the exit. The car just caught him out. And then, huge jump on board Noddy Tompkins' car, Maddie Hunter. Jump on board Noddy Tompkins' car for this one because we're going to want to see this view. So, watching from on board of Noddy Tompkins here, just in front of him, Darren Lobb just has a huge moment. The car just loses grip. It goes sideways, and then he loses it, locks it up. Noddy Tompkins goes down and misses by a B's private parts, you could say there. There was absolutely nothing between those cars. Great reaction from Noddy Tompkins.
Foster's in the pits. Foster's
saved that one. I reckon Foster's going to be taking left only here. So a few drivers going to come in as well. Neil Pearson and Hobson coming in as well. They're going to take fuel.
Dubs in. Nankervis. Reuben Phelps is in.
Yep. A lot of drivers coming in for fuel. So they're going to come in, get a little bit of fuel on board. You saw there as well, Norman Clark just very close to that incident as well. We almost lost two of the South Africans at once there, but they just avoided each other, so that was good. Will we see Foster just taking the left side here, I wonder, and just getting fuel? He missed his box there.
He's taking rights.
Rights as well, so he's going to take right and left. I wonder if that's a mistake by him, because that's going to use up the set of tyres. So Foster's going to be used. Foster's only got one set of tyres left now for that right side.
Unless something weird has happened, and it can happen where the tyres didn't actually get changed. He may have gone up on the jacks, but the tyres actually didn't get changed.
Possibly, but we'll just have to go off what we can see there. And looks like Foster changed all 4 sets and just equaled it out. And if that's the case, Foster only has one set of tyres left now. That is going to be... that's going to be tricky for him. That is really, really put him in a not a very nice position. That is going to hurt him tremendously. Jaden Russell is the first of the drivers that made a stop in 8th position. So Jay Russell's got a little bit more fuel. Looks like he took fuel only. So majority of drivers just taking fuel. So Jaden Russell, Brendan Hobson, Neil Pearson, Matty Ray just taking fuel. Then you have Stevie Dubb, Foster, Phelps, Nankervis, Clark, Koch, and I reckon Darren Lobb as well, all changing their tyres. So Reuben Phelps has used this opportunity to get those fresh tyres as well. So he's going to have fresh boots now for the rest of the run. We saw how quick he was after that restart on the old tyres as well. He wasn't really losing time, but he's used this to his advantage. He's now got nice fresh boots out there, some 12 laps fresher than the leaders. And we're going to see now how this affects the race. So this will be interesting. We'll see how people like Stevie Dubb, Foster, Phelps, Nankervis go on this restart, because they're going to have the freshest tyres out there compared to drivers like Matty Ray, Pearson, and then the rest of the leaders.
Yeah, I had a little chuckle there. I don't know if you heard it. I've got the race radio going on in the background where the guys can all talk to each other on the race comms. And Nobby was very quickly come on and said, "That wasn't me." And he's just had it.
Noddy, he doesn't always have the best luck. Definitely, where he's driving, he has improved an enormous amount though, which has been great to see. but sometimes does get caught out a little bit with those little mistakes, and we saw that with that first caution, just getting caught out by going on the flat of the corner and just spinning. Sort of almost a little bit of a rookie move there. Easy to make that mistake.
He's just been given a black flag for passing on the yellow when he was the last car. So obviously, as he's come into pit lane, he's passed someone before the control line. So he's ended up with a black flag.
Yeah, that's unfortunate indeed, but he can keep circulating. The race is not over yet. He's going to go down a lap, but we have seen things happen before. Race back to green flag now. Jason Martin leads away. He doesn't have to think about going down the middle and threading the eye of the needle this time. He gets away nicely. A little bit further back, Lachlan Oakley has a little bit of a moment just underneath Neil Pearson. He has got Jaden Russell just behind him. Sorry, it's Brendan Hobson just behind him. Sorry, and they are going to be racing hard now. Of course, we've got a mixture of different tyres out there as well. We've got a lot of different tyres, a lot of different strategies going on now for the end of this race. And if we go green from here, this is going to be a fascinating one.
Definitely is. Those guys that came in then and took tyres and everything are going to be in a better position. Although they have to make hay why they've got those fresh tyres and try and get up to that pointy end.
They do. Martin has absolutely gotten away. He is going faster than a whippet with a bumful of dynamite out there. He has really pulled away nicely as Dyson and Burke have started fighting with each other, and that's really helped him out. Wayne Burke up into second place at the moment. He's doing a good job of defending. Meanwhile, Michael Skurlock is pushing forwards, getting past Daniel Heddershide. He's got the inside, doesn't quite make it work. He's caught on that inside line. He's going to lose some positions now. He drops back behind, just behind Jaden Russell now, who is flying forwards. Jaden Russell, of course, did come in for fuel, not the fresh tyres. Michael Skurlock is out there, of course, on those warmer tyres, and we'll see how that pays off, because I think we'll see those guys that took fresh tyres moving forwards after about 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, Michael's done the right thing there. He knows these guys are on fresh rubber, and he's just moved down to give them a clear run. Won't want to let too many people see that a gentleman move by himself.
Skurlock is well known as the gentleman of ANZCAR. He is one of the most gentlemanly men out there, of course. Very hard rider, Skurlock, but I think he was just moving into a position where he just didn't have to fight too hard against Foster, who is on those fresh boots, and he's just going to sit behind him now and see if he can take advantage of Foster, who is going to be wanting to try and get some speed out of those tyres and start creeping forwards a bit now. Because he is in a bit of a rough position. He's going to have one less set of tyres than everybody else out there on the track. One person to keep an eye out for, I'd say, is Reuben Phelps for this race. He has got a pair of boots up his sleeve. He's on the same strategy as everybody else, but he is on the freshest set of tyres, and he is sitting pretty at the moment. So he could be one to watch out for in the latter stages of this race as we click over lap 49 of 160. We're not even halfway yet. We've still got 111 laps to go, so a lot of action to come here at Darlington. The lady in black is going to be really delivering tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And just going back to Mr. Skurlock there, mate, he's only dropped back down to 10th, so he's in that top 10, and he's I'd say he's just wants to be rotating and feel comfortable, and then I reckon, like normal, he'll be thereabouts at the end of it. So it's probably a good move, and let everything happen in front of him.
Exactly, not taking too many risks, which is a wise decision. Again, it's one of those things of sometimes it's good to pick and choose your battles. Sometimes you can lose a lot more time battling with a car than if you just let it pass and sit there. And of course, you've got a little bit less chance of an accident happening as well in those circumstances. So deciding to take it easy at the moment, and there's still a long way to go, of course. There's still a long way in this race to go. So taking it easy now might pay off later in this race, as looks like Foster is trying to make a move on Hobson at the moment. He is really pushing hard in the 53, of course, defending champion, really going for it against one of those newcomers. Brendan Hobson, of course, new to the oval racing scene this year, but he has had an absolutely fantastic season. You would not know that he is not as experienced on the ovals because he has been racing incredibly well, Holbo, doing a great job and really making a name for himself, put himself in contention for the championship this season for sure.
Yeah, definitely, Carl. I've just pulled up the stats for Hobson. 6 wins in the regular season, 13 top 5s, and 17 top 10s. So that's been a fantastic season for him so far, as you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the only man with more wins is Andrew Dyson. I think with 7 wins off the top of my head. Of course, because one of those wins not counted on the stat sheet because it was a post-race decision. But those two have really been going at it, and Dyson has been again one of those drivers. 2nd year racing on the ovals, took him that a couple of races just to get absolutely settled in, but he has been performing well as well. And look, it just goes to show that when you're a quick driver, you can sort of get settled in and get quick in anything. And it is great to see some new faces in the series this year. But at the moment, we have one of the old faces leading. That is Jason Martin, the wily old dog that he is in the number 21 Mitch Motorsport, the purple car, of course. The Fremantle fan himself, Mr. Jason Martin, is doing a great job at the front. And it's great to see because he's not had the easiest of seasons. Jace has really been struggling with this car, and he has got another rookie on his tail of Wayne Burke, who is one of those drivers as well, new to the sort of oval scene. Got quite a bit of experience on dirt, I believe, as well as some road racing as well. Part of the Synergy Sim racing team with Hobson, Jaden Russell, Tom Freer, and of course I think I said Hobson, didn't I?
Yep.
So, very experienced team there, a great team, but he is slightly newer to the oval scene. But he's been having some good runs. When he's come in, he has got speed, and he is absolutely applying that right now, putting the pressure on the seasoned veteran of Jason Martin.
I think we may see, I know Jason as much as he wouldn't want to. If there's too much pressure from him, I'd say Jason may just move aside and say, "You go for it, lad, and I'll catch you in the rear end of the race."
Yeah, look, it could be a thing of just not pushing too hard as well. Just saving a little bit of fuel here and there because, of course, these guys didn't come in for that extra stop. So just getting a little bit of extra fuel saving might be worth doing at this stage, and this might be what Martin is doing. Because he's definitely got more pace than this, I would say. He seems to have more pace than this, but he's not quite using it at the moment. He's definitely just sort of holding back a little bit.
Just looking down the time sheets there, Carl.
Oh, sorry, Burke makes a big move out of turn 4 and makes the move for the lead on Martin, getting past him into turn 1. It is Burke in the lead ahead of Jason Martin. Martin gets unsettled as the air cuts across the nose of him, and that's going to give Dyson a chance. Dyson comes down. Dyson gets a good run out of turn number 2. Gets a good run down the back straight here. Dyson and Martin side by side. Martin breaks a little bit earlier, lets Dyson go through. Dyson gets through there. Martin's just going to sit back and then go for the attack.
I'm just looking at the timesheet, mate. The fastest car is a blue and white car sitting in 7th place, Mr. Ed Foster, with a 30.2. Now, just saying that, Jason Martin last lap was a 31.1. So, yeah, so I think he's just said, "Hey, I've let enough laps, and we'll sit back here, and you guys can go out and burn some fuel off."
Of course, Foster, when we last checked in on him, was behind Hobson, and he is now past Pearson and Hobson, so he is moving forwards nicely. Just dropping... so Foster is moving forwards. He's just in behind Josh Micklemore now, and he's looking to make a move on Micklemore. You can see there the blue and white car of the Natari Autosport getting past Micklemore in the uncustomary but old school yellow paint scheme of Micklemore there, and makes the move. Foster is absolutely flying on those fresh boots, and they've come up to temperature now nicely, and that's the thing that we were saying. Watch out for those guys that came in for those fresh tyres. It will take a couple of laps for them to get into the right temperature range, but once they do, they will be absolutely going for it.
Yeah, just looking at back to the front, mate. Wayne's opened up half a second gap on Dyson, so he's definitely in a hurry.
He is, and I wonder if he's going for the old sort of just pushing hard now. It's been 33 laps since he last came into pit lane, last came in for a service. Of course, we had a caution between there, so he's going to have a little bit of extra fuel from that, but it won't be long until those guys need to start thinking about pitting for some fuel.
Yeah, I'm just looking. The first person with the freshest rubber is Jaden Russell, sitting in fourth place.
J. Russ didn't take boots; he only took fuel, so he's on the same tyres as everybody else at the moment. So Jaden Russell has got the same boots as the leaders. Foster is currently the fastest, well, the driver with the freshest tyres, and then the next driver with fresh tyres is Reuben Phelps. So Reuben Phelps has been setting some good times, but he's just behind Lachlan Urquio in 12th at the moment.
Just looking at last laps again, Wayne Burke is definitely on a charge. The last lap was a 30.5, and everyone else is, apart from Dyso, is over the 30.5 mark. So some of those guys with the newer tyres maybe just starting to settle down again and starting to think about the long run again.
Yeah, and look, if we get a long green period now, just having that little bit of extra lead could be useful. We're noticing one thing I would say is that it's not much tyre drop off. In 37 laps, they've only lost about a second, which is not as severe as we usually see at Darlington. And that's definitely something with these lower profile tyres. They don't seem to wear like the sort of the old school, very chunky tyres that we're so used to in motorsport. The wear rate is not nearly as bad, and you don't tend to lose as much time. Meanwhile, Foster's making a move on Jaden Russell. Foster trying to go down the inside into turn one. Now the 53 gets down on the inside of the 28. Very close to each other as they go through turns 1 and 2, but Foster's able to hold it there. Foster makes the move, gets a little bit of a wiggle on the exit. That's going to give Russell the opportunity to possibly get back at the attack. Foster moves down just to keep him behind him, and Foster makes the move, getting up ahead of Jaden Russell.
Mr. Burke just had a bit of a squiggle there, coming into turns 3 and 4, and that's allowed Dyso to just close that gap of fraction. It's now back down to just 0.2 of a second. So maybe this hard charge.
Big contact there for Burke. That was a much heavier hit into the wall for Wayne Burke.
Just going through.
So, expecting to see these leading cars have not come in for that extra stop. Probably they're going to be looking at coming in for fuel in about 10 to 15 laps, I'd say. So we might see Wayne Burke and Andrew Dyson coming in the next 10 to 15 laps. I reckon Jason Martin is just doing a little bit of a fuel save at the moment. He's still got some speed, serious speed, but he's not quite pushing it as hard as some of the others. And that just suggests he might just be lifting off a little bit, rolling off the throttle a little bit, and just saving a tiny bit of fuel. Just a couple of milliseconds here and there can save you a little bit of fuel, and that can just get you an extra lap here and there.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Pearson just had a moment, and he's up into the wall. So coming that last lap, he he got a big tail slap, and he ended up down on that low line, and he's just come back up and on the through those turns 3 and 4, and he's touched the wall. So he's not slowly getting going downhill, but he's still sitting there in 7th place. So you know, so long as he hasn't really done a lot of damage to that right side, he should be okay.
If it's just panel damage, then that's not a problem. It's just if you get that suspension hurt, that is when it can really become problematic. Meanwhile, we have got the race for the lead going on as Daiso is putting all the pressure on Burke. He's going to get a good run out of turn 2 here, and Dyson makes the move down the back straight. It is the orange DPR car, and then down the inside of Wayne Burke. Wayne Burke just trying to hold it there. He's really being squeezed by Dyson. Great driving by the two, great awareness. Not any room there for those two drivers, and Burke's just holding on at the moment, but Dyson's going to make the move into turn 1, gets up in there and gets past for the lead of the race. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Foster was making the move on Jason Martin just behind. Similar circumstances for those two, and Foster has come out the winner there. Foster currently in 3rd position. He's just got ahead of Jason Martin.
Some great driving there by Dyson and Burke.
Yeah, incredible awareness there. Those two were so close to each other. There was a cigarette paper between those two cars for a good 5 to 10 seconds, and they just held them there beautifully. Great job from both drivers to keep it so close to each other.
Sorry, he's coming out of turn 4, then he just scraped the wall. You've seen the sparks fly. So these tyres are starting to drop off now for these fellas, and they're probably pushing a little bit too hard, as you see.
They've hit a cliff, haven't they? Because they've dropped from the sort of 30.5. They've lost a good half a second in the last 3 laps, and Jason Martin's fallen down the field. He's just got passed by Jaden Russell, so Jaden Russell just moving up now as well. Foster, he is out there, and he is a good couple of tenths faster than those guys around him on those fresher tyres. He's got a good 12 laps on the cars around him, remember. So those extra couple of 12 laps look to be the difference here. So it seems like about 45 laps on those tyres is when they start to fall off the cliff a little bit.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Carl, everyone in the field, in saying that, Dyso's just dropped back down into the high 30s. But everyone up until that last lap, only two drivers were in the 30s. And that was both Foster and Phelps. So, Berkey's into the pits.
Yeah, I was about to say, Darren Lobb's just come into the pit lane as well. He came in about 11 laps ago. He is on the freshest set of boots now. He's coming for his stop. So interesting to see that from Lobb. But Wayne Burke has decided this is the time to pit for him. 48 laps into that stint. And I feel like that's a good option for him. He's going to get a slight undercut on those tyres. This could help him out here an enormous amount with those slightly fresher tyres. We've seen they take a couple of laps to get up to temperature, but if we don't get a caution flag, then he's going to be sitting pretty to get a nice jump over Dyson once these pit stops follow through. Meanwhile, a little bit further back, Hobson... who was that making the move? Sorry, I missed that. I think it might have been... it was... It was Brenton Hobbs. Sorry, it was. It's Darren Lobb. Sorry, just getting through the field. Too many black cars out there. Too many teams with black cars at the moment, and it's tricky sometimes when you're glancing at two screens. You see a black car moving up the field, and you think, "Oh wait, that's that car." No, it was the wrong black car.
I'm just trying to play this out in my head. You were saying there about Berkey coming in and taking tyres. He's going to have tyres. So what Reuben and Ed doesn't want right now is a caution.
Yeah.
They will be looking and hoping and praying that this stays green, because realistically, even though Burke's come in and taken tyres now, I think Foster and Phelps will be the two guys that they'll have to try and get in front of it by the end of this race.
Jason Martin just making a move on Jaden Russell there. Jason Martin moving back up to third, and Martin's now put on the screws, and he's starting to get some pace out of the car. But that's exactly it. They need, if there's a caution that ruins their race, effectively, a caution now wouldn't ruin their race, I'd say. A caution now would probably be nice for Foster. He wouldn't mind too much because it would get him to the end of the race. But what they can't afford is a caution in about 20 to 40 laps sort of area. They need this race to run green to the end after they make that final stop. As Martin gets a big slap on the exit there. Tail steps out, and that's going to be Lobb just getting past him, I believe. Just unlapping himself, but Jason Martin just did a great job of saving that car. That was almost going up into the wall. Jaden Russell now is going to get a run on Martin. Here, Russell gets down the inside, makes the move for third position. J. Russ getting back past Jason Martin here. So, exactly, they need this race to run green now for it to work. If a late caution comes out, it could absolutely ruin the races of somebody like Foster, as Dyson takes a big bite out of the wall this time. That was a heavy hit by Andrew Dyson. He's starting to struggle out there. 54 laps on these tyres now. He is getting to the end of the tyre life. Foster, meanwhile, is still in the ballpark. They're setting similar lap times. Dyson's doing some great lap times at the moment, but remember, his car is much lighter, so he's got a lot less fuel in there. Even though his tyres are a little bit worse for wear, he's got much less fuel at the moment, and that's helping him a little bit with his speed. But he is struggling out there. The rear of that car is really getting wobbly, and I imagine he'll be coming into pit lane in the next lap or two.
Yeah, definitely. Look, this can go another, I'd say, if Foster and Phelps can get through to their next pit stop, and if a caution falls for them at that point, then that plays back into their hands. But if it doesn't have a caution around that point, I think these guys that are on the opposite strategy may be in hold the aces for the race.
Pearson in pit lane, and looks like Hedeshire and Martin both coming in as well. I think for somebody like for Reuben Phelps, he kind of wants to see a couple of cautions come out because he's got that extra set of tyres up his sleeve, so to say. So he could be in for a good one. Of course, he's got a little bit more fuel on board as well. He topped up on fuel. He really made sure to have that car fueled to the absolute maximum.
Well, Russell just shaved the wall there out of 3 and 4. So some of these guys are really starting to find, like you said, Carl, from 45 onwards, that these tyres really drop off.
Yeah, it's almost, we talk about the cliff of tyres, and that's where they lose a certain amount of rubber, and what happens is once they get down to very low amounts of rubber, they get hot very quickly, and that causes them to have more trouble. We've got Micklemore and Urquio coming into pit lane now as well. So drivers are pitting. Dyson in pit lane too. So
it'd be interesting to see if Dyson stays there for a fraction longer and gets any damage fixed, if he's got any from those couple of scrapes.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine he's gonna, because it's green, I imagine he's gonna just put his foot down as soon as possible, not worry about getting any repairs done unless they're mandatory. And looks like he did not worry at all. 15.1 seconds in stationary time, so that is about the same as everybody else. So he is very much out of there like a scolded cat. So that means Foster is in the lead at the moment. Jaden Russell second, Reuben Phelps in third, Hobson fourth, Stevie Dubb in fifth position. So Jaden Russell is where are we? So these guys are all on the same sort of strategy now. They've got probably about another 5 laps of fuel left in the tank. So if a caution came out now, I imagine they'd be pretty happy with that, because that would mean they can stop under a yellow. That would help them out immensely, because everybody else is a lap down, of course. People like Dyson, they've dropped a lap. So a caution now could really help the likes of Foster, Russell, Hobson, Williams, Phelps, Raymond, Clark, Koch, and Burke. Of course, remember Wayne Burke came in earlier for his stop, so Wayne Burke is on the lead lap. Importantly now, so if a caution comes out, he is crucially on that lead lap, so he's not going to have to. He's not going to have to worry about the lucky dog, so he's in a very good position as it stands. It looks like Reuben Phelps is coming in right now, too. So Phelps deciding.
No, that was Tristan, I think.
That's
Sorry,
Gotch,
Tristan. Sorry. Slightly different paint schemes there. A silvery car of Tristan Koch catching me out that little bit. But yeah, as I say, importantly for Burke, he is on that lead lap. Dyson is going to be desperate to get past Foster and get up onto that lead lap as well, just in case a caution does fly. Because if that happens, his race could be effectively over. Although he'll get the lucky dog, he'll have to fall to the back of the pack. And what we mean by a lucky dog, of course, is the first car that's a lap down gets the wave around under the pace car. So if you're new to oval racing to NASCAR, of course, that's what we mean when we say that. Of course, we sort of we get used to saying all these things, but forget sometimes we get new audience members coming on board. And to any new audience members, thank you for joining us tonight. We welcome you, and we hope you're enjoying this race, and we look forward to seeing you in the next couple of races here on Performance E-Streaming on YouTube, and of course the ANZCAR page over on Facebook. Make sure to give them a little like-see and a bit of a tap for things like that, and subscribe, all of those usual things, because they do help out the old analytics.
Looks like he's in the pits. He's coming into the pits.
So that's about 52 laps on that stint for him.
Yeah, it's a bit early for Phelps, in all honesty. I thought he would take it longer. I expected...
Sorry, go, mate.
Sorry, I expected him to take it another couple of laps longer. So we've seen about 55 laps for 55, 56 laps for the longest stint. So I think we're going to see Foster and all those boys coming in the next lap or two. So it won't be long until they start peeling into pit lane. And Foster is... Get the feeling Foster's going to be coming into pit lane in the next lap, I'd say. It looks like he's going to be coming in very shortly. Because... And he does indeed.
Yep.
I think they've hit that limit on the fuel. So how much fuel has Hobson saved? Has he got an extra lap out of there? As Pearson just slides underneath him at the moment. And Hobson does indeed have an extra lap in the bag, so he manages to get it a lap longer. But he'll be coming in shortly as well.
And I can tell you that Reuben took 4 tyres also, so he's probably the only one out there now that's got a set of tyres left.
Yeah, so he Reuben will be in a good spot if we get a caution. Well, everybody's got a set of tyres left.
Everyone should have a set.
Yeah. Everybody but Foster has got a set of tyres left. So the only driver out there that's going to be praying that we don't see a late caution is Foster. But there were a few drivers that took an extra set of tyres. So quite a few drivers have only got one set left. People like Reuben Phelps has got a set up their sleeve as well. So there are a few drivers out there that are very much on there that don't have any spare sets. So if a late caution comes, they're going to be really in trouble. Brendan Hobson's done a great job on fuel. 57 laps in this stint. Stevie Dubb was behind him. He's come into the pit lane now. So Hobbo has done a incredible job of fuel saving. Looks like he might be able to take 58 laps on this tank. So that is an incredible job. We'll have to check his boots to see if there's an extra little bit of a fuel tank hidden in there.
Might be a bigger fuel line, mate.
He's got the old fuel line that goes all the way around the car. One of the things you can't do in sim racing, though, I guess. It does make it a little bit harder to cheat in that respect. But look, great job of fuel saving by Hobbo. He has just been absolutely treating that throttle like there's an egg under it, just keeping that thing as safe as possible. I reckon he's going to be coming into pit lane this time round, though. Will he be able to go 59 laps? I mean, that's really taking it to the extremes. We did have that, of course, there was that caution, so there was that little bit of time under the pace car. He is going to take it 59 laps, so I can't see him going much longer. I can't see him keeping it out any further than this, but what a excellent job of fuel saving by Hobbo. Really good job by him. Wayne Burke is just behind him, though. Wayne Burke, 6 seconds down the track. He has built up a 10-second lead over Andrew Dyson. I said, watch out with Burke with that pit stop because he will get a huge jump as Hobson does indeed come into pit lane. But Wayne Burke has built up a 10-second lead over Andrew Dyson. That undercut has really paid off for him.
Yeah, definitely. And that's like, I'll just go back to Hobson there. That's fantastic fuel save. Like 59 laps on a tank of fuel. That's yeah.
Well,
if it was
how many
real
laps?
life, I'd say they'd have his car into scrutineering very quickly.
One thing to look at, Mark. How many laps we got remaining?
What are we on? We've got 6:59.
So, Hobson can make it home.
I think we can see his strategy there.
So this is crucial for Hobbo. He can absolutely make it home now on this tank of fuel. So if we don't,
Carl, unless we have a green white checker, and then he's in trouble.
yes. But if we have a green white checker, then I imagine we'll have a fair few people coming in anyway, just to give that little top up or get some fresh boots. But as Burke gets heavily into the wall. Big contact for the wall of turn number 4 for Wayne Burke there. Between 3 and 4, he just gets a real big grind, and that's going to hurt him. That has brought the lead
The lead
down. Yeah.
Under 5 seconds, yeah.
I just watching back further there, Matty. Reuben Hobson and Lob 3 wide around turns 3 and 4, and Mr. Phelps has come out in front of that one.
Yeah, so, I'd say his tyres are up to temperature, which has got him a little bit quicker, and Hobson also he'll be settling into this run exactly like he did the last run, so that he can get that 59 to 60 laps out of it. So I think that's partially the reason why he's probably dropping there, because I think he's probably just running to a fuel number.
Yeah, definitely could be to try and get home. But as Carl said, mate, if we have a late race caution, everything's out the window and everyone will be in the pit lane, and then it's a sprint race, and really it's anyone's race then.
It will be, yeah. It'll be a battle of who's managed to save a set of tyres. So that's when Phelps would be able to use that advantage of having those tyres that he's got. But we are seeing the lead close up down to 3 seconds as we see the 550 of Koch is going to unlap himself. Looking to go around the 86, and that will get Tristan one of his laps back. Here was 2 laps. Oh, and he's at the wall. So he goes back down 2 laps. That's unfortunate. And that the 28 of Russell is there. He is looking to unlap himself as well. Of course, he is running 18-second lap fresher tyres. Yeah. And that is his teammate as well. So there'll be a bit of communication going on in the chat, and he'll be letting him through.
That'll put him back on the lead lap. So that leaves Reuben in the lucky dog position if there's a caution now.
Dyson is really starting to catch up now. It's 1.5 seconds now between Dyson and Burke, and this is the perils of the undercut is the overcut. Those fresh tyres on Dyson is starting to pay off now. He has got a bit fresh tyres by 10 laps, and that is the difference that 10 laps makes on the tyres. Dyson absolutely charging down Burke here, but of course these guys will need to make another pit stop, so they're going to need to make one more stop to get to the end of this race. So that is going to be an interesting one. When do they come in? That's going to be the question. Do you come in a little bit early, get those fresh tyres and get a nice big lead over the guy that you're fighting? Do you stay out and hope for a caution? There is a lot of strategy at play, and we could see a surprise win here, of course. There could be some real surprises here. The guy I'd say in the box seat at the moment is Hobson. He is currently He's currently setting some good pace, and he is the only car that we believe can make it home on fuel. He's going to have to do a little bit of saving to get there, but he can do it. He's the only one that's close to that. Foster is the next closest, I'd say, but he's a good 10 laps shy of making it to the end. So it's very much going to be a splash and dash situation. Will we see drivers just coming in for that splash and dash, just getting a little bit of fuel on board as Dyson makes a move here on Burke, gets a good run out of turn number 2. It's drag race down into turn 3 and 4. Side by side they go, as close as you want between Burke and Dyson, but Dyson on those fresher tyres is just able to drive it right around Wayne Burke, get back into the lead of this race. 49 laps remaining here at Darlington for the 24/7 Sim Services ANZCAR Cup. First race of the chase of 2022.
It's been an interesting one, Carl. We've seen plenty of different fuel strategies, different tyre strategies. So I believe we go to Bristol next week. I think that's the next one in the chase, and that's going to open up another whole different can of worms.
Might be Kansas.
Kansas. Yeah, it's Kansas next time out.
Yep.
Yeah. No place like home. We'll click our heels 3 times and head off to Kansas, and then it is Bristol, of course. So yeah, there's a few different, some very different tracks coming up though, and that's going to really affect things.
I believe we've even got one of the Rovals, or is it?
We
Sonoma?
do, yeah. We've got the Roval itself. So Charlotte Roval is the only road course there. So coming up in the chase, of course, we've got Kansas next time out, Bristol, Texas, Talladega. Anyone can get Talladega, of course, and everybody wants to get it. Then it is the Roval. Then we have a week off in October for October the 6th. Then we're heading off to Las Vegas, Homestead, of course, Martinsville, and then we finish off at the tricky track of Phoenix on November the 2nd. So it's going to be interesting coming up, because there's a big variety of different ovals, different tracks, of course, not too many road races. So that takes a little bit of the advantage of some of those drivers that are road aces, such as Hobson and Dyson, out of the mix. But some of these short tracks, and especially places like Phoenix, can really be tricky, and they can catch you out quite a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Phoenix is definitely a track that you really got to go into with the right set of mind. And same with Bristol. Bristol's very different. Again, it's a little bit like this. It's a oval, but more. There's 2 different ends of the track, so you've got to drive them both differently too, just like here at Darlington.
Yeah, it's an egg shack track.
Yeah.
That's the one. Darlington.
And it really can catch you out, because you get into a rhythm on these tracks, especially ovals. And if you've been driving a lot of ovals that are the same all the way round, you sort of get used to that layout and that sort of cornering. And although you can have slightly different cambers in the corners, and that can make a difference for, say, turns 1 and 2 to turns 3 and 4, when it is an egg-shaped track, when you've got a slightly tighter turn, especially when you've got slightly tighter turns on the opposite sides, that really can catch you out sometimes, especially if you're a bit tired. You go into the corner thinking it's the slightly wider corner, and then all of a sudden you're in a lot of trouble. Speaking of somebody that's in a bit of trouble, and that's Neil Pearson at the moment. He has got Foster chewing down on him at the moment. Foster looking to make a move, and he does indeed. He just flies past Pearson, gets up into P3. Pearson not putting up much of a battle there, just deciding that he is running his own race at the moment, not fighting for that spot. And looks like Pearson is running to numbers at the moment, just to get into a certain lap for his pit stop. A little bit further back, we've got the Mitch boys of Martin and Micklemore. Micklemore having a good run tonight. He's just behind Jason Martin, who led a lot of this race, but Martin's dropped down quite a bit since we last saw him. We saw Jason Martin leading most of this race up until those pit stops, and he's sort of dropped down a little bit. But will we see Martin pull out some magic later on in this stint and possibly get back up into the lead? Who is going to be the first car to come down pit lane, I wonder? That is my big question for both you, Matt, and Mark, is who's going to take a risk and come into pit lane and hope for no cautions.
I think it'll be Burke. Burke in the 86 will be. He's been out there the longest.
Yeah,
So
he's
I
been
think
out there 41 laps. So
yeah, he pitted earlier than everybody else. I think he's running a strategy where he's trying to split the remaining laps from that caution in half, sort of thing.
but in saying that too, Matty, you could see the Mitch boys come in the pit lane and try and split it too, because they're both been out there for 33 laps. So yeah, it's or 33 and 31.
Daniel Heddershide's come in, so that answers the question.
yeah.
He is the first guy to come in. So, is Daniel Heddershide deciding that he is going to come in? And is that because of damage? Because he has got a lot of damage. He's made a mistake coming into pit. He's made a mistake, actually. He's lost the rear, spun it around, and gone nose first into the safer barrier, coming into pit lane. And that is that's not the pit entry he would have wanted. So, that's probably going to carry him a penalty as well. So, it looks like he decided on a late call coming into pit lane, a bit too late, and he locked it up, spun it around, and made a big accident. So that's not going to pay off for him.
No, it's definitely not. Just jumping back to the tracks also, Carl, the one thing that is the biggest difference between Bristol and everywhere else we go in the chase is Bristol is cement. Everywhere else is asphalt.
Yeah, it's a very different surface. You see here that late entry that Heddershide made. I wonder if it was a mistake that forced him into it, but it looked like he was planning to come down. He just waited a little bit late. He sort of bounced off the apron a little bit and just unsettled the rear of the car. Looks like a late call for me that he decided to come in, and he's just bounced the car and caught him off guard a little bit. He didn't get a penalty from it. Lachlan Urquhart also coming in now as well. But he does get a lot of nose damage from that. And we've seen in the past that can cause issues with the radiators. And that then can cause overheating issues and sometimes the old engine to go kaboom.
Well, see, he's lucky in one sense. There's a safety barrier on that first bit of fence that he hit. But when he turned himself around and went into that fence inside the pit lane, there's no safety barrier there. So that would have done also some rear end damage.
So Lachlan Urquhart deciding to come in now. So he's going to be hoping that he can get some pace underneath him and get some positions up. He's got some fresh boots on there as well. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do. Wayne Burke's decided to keep it out a bit longer, and I feel like that might be a mistake from Burke because we've seen that the tyres really start to drop off after 40 laps. So he's stuck it out there, and he's on 46 laps now. So he is going to be struggling with the pace of that thing. Just a little bit further back, Heddershide is just behind Andrew Dyson at the moment. And this is something to look at for the fresh tyres, because you can see Heddershide, even with that damage, has got so much more speed now, flying past Dyson, absolutely getting up there and hooning along. So he has really got some pace, and that just shows to me that it might be worth coming in to get those tyres a little bit earlier, because if you can build up a nice big gap, then it's going to be harder for them to come in. Burke coming in right now, though.
Yeah, that leaves him 34 laps in his last stint. So probably a wise move. He'll still have reasonable rubber there if it's a green white.
Phelps, is that Phelps? Yes, it is.
Yep,
Phelps coming in now as well. So Reuben's coming in now as well. He's decided it's time to come in. Question is does Daiso come in to cover them off? Because you're going to start running out of laps at a certain stage. You can't leave it too long. Obviously, you could run the tank out and just really go for it. Neil Pearson in pit lane as well as Jason Martin. But if you leave yourself with only 10 laps to go and you've got Dyson just catching the wall a little bit there. If you leave yourself with 10 laps to go and you've got to make up 15 seconds, then that's going to be a very hard thing to do indeed. So it could be tricky for him. I think we're going to see Foster just keeping it out as long as possible because he doesn't have a set of tyres, I believe. So Foster will probably go to the tank is absolutely sniffing an oily rag because he can't get any advantage of those fresh tyres, where everybody else will get a new set of boots possibly. The other question is, of course, do you do you get a fresh set of tyres? Do you just try and go back out there and just top up the fuel for the last couple of laps? Will we see a few people try a splash and dash strategy? There are quite a few things to be answered in this race, and yeah, we've still got a long way to go. It's going to be interesting. But just going back to what you were saying, Mark, of course, with the concrete track, that is a very different surface, and it really does change how the car handles. The only bit of concrete we usually see is that bit in pit lane. And if you've ever driven one of these cars getting out of pit lane, you know how easy it is to loop it when you light up the tyres and try and get it off out of the box there.
Yeah, definitely. One person we haven't spoken a lot about tonight, and I've just gone through my camera views, and that's Mr. Norman Clark, the quiet achiever. He's actually made it up his way up into the top 10, and he's sitting in 6th position at the moment.
Yeah, Norman's had his usual race, just being quiet and just quietly achieving his stuff. You know, nothing too flashy, but he is going to be he's going to be coming in for another stop, of course. But again, the veteran himself, and he does indeed come in for that stop. As I'm saying that, but he is one of those drivers that will just quietly chip away at it and just does it under the radar. You know, you don't always see it with Norman, and then he'll all of a sudden be up there in the top group, up in the top 10, and you'll just be like, oh, you know, where did that come from?
Yeah, definitely.
So just looking at the leaders at the moment, Dyson is really starting to struggle out there at the moment. He's clipping the wall quite a bit, so seen him clip the wall a fair few times. Another driver that we've not mentioned tonight is the mean green machine of Stevie Dubb in the 98. He's been having a solid run out there, and he's just been chugging along. He's currently sitting behind Hobson, and he's one of those drivers that he's got a possibility of making it home on fuel if he can get enough fuel saving, and it does sound a little bit like he's clutching it from what what I've sort of seen, and just keeping an eye on him. It does look like he might be doing a bit of heavy fuel saving. So Stevie Dubb might be one of those drivers that a bit of a dark horse later on in the stage. Dyson has come in to pit lane, so the 41 of Andrew Dyson is in pit lane. He's decided it is time to come in, get those fresh boots, get that fuel. Does he go for all 4 tyres, or does he just go for 2? All 4 it is, and we've seen beforehand that 2 tyres don't seem to work here, so all 4 is probably the best bet. This leaves Foster in the lead, of course. And, well, we're going to get our answer as if those right side tyres got changed by Foster in that earlier stop, which I believe they did, so he is possibly out of tyres. I think it's going to be a rough drive home for Foster. He is currently in the lead, but if he has got no tyres left in this race, it's going to be a very miserable drive to the end.
Yeah, if that's the case, I think we'll see him finish outside the top 10. That's probably not what he wants. Well, I know it wouldn't be what he wanted for the first round of the chase, being the defending champion. But he's in the pits now, so I guess our question will be answered in a matter of 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, we'll see if the car goes up on the jacks or not. That's going to be the interesting one. It's going to leave Jaden Russell out there to get a lap led, and he's going to get get a bonus point for that as well, which is always nice. It's always nice to lead a race. Always a nice feeling when you get to lead a race, no matter what. But he will get that now. The big one to look out for is Hobson and Williams. Those two are going to be ones to keep an eye out for if they make it to the end. So Foster coming in does indeed jack up, so it looks like he has got some tyres on that car. So it looks like he does indeed have some tyres. That's answered that question, and that is definitely good news for him, because if he was out of tyres, then there would have been a miserable run to the end for himself.
And I think he's done this at the right time. He's come in, so let's see where he jumps out in the race.
Just in front of Jason Martin. So Foster's just ahead of Jason Martin by the looks of it, and he's going to be battling with Martin now. Martin on some nice warm tyres, Foster on some cooler tyres. So this is going to be a fight to keep Martin behind him, and this is the battle for some positions now. They're going to be going hard at it. So, question is, can they catch up to Hobson? Hobson has not got a huge lead over Dyson now. That strategy and that idea of trying to save the fuel might not pay off for him. He has not got a huge amount of time over Dyso, who is going to be going absolutely full throttle now. Stevie Dubb just been passed by Andrew Dyson as well, so Stevie Dubb is also trying to make it home on a limited amount of fuel. He's trying to be frugal and save a couple of pennies. Have we lost Neil Pearson? I think we have. Neil Pearson has dropped out of the race, and that is a big scalp to go. We have lost Neil Pearson. I'm just going back to see what happened. It looks like he's had a connection issue. So we have lost Neil Pearson from the race, and that is a huge upset. That is one of the chase contenders dropping out of the race again. We've seen another connectivity issue, another mechanical failure for one of the chase contenders.
I've just got the message up, dropped out due to upload package loss. So definitely a net issue there for Pearson.
That's pretty huge in the championship picture. That is.
Yeah, and it's not been a good end of the season for Pearson. He's had a lot of issues with pedals, and now with a connectivity issue, that is a big shame. And he was running well. He was running in the top 10. Meanwhile, just looking through the drivers, Jaden Russell's still in the lead. He's hoping for a late caution right now. You can see Andrew Dyson now getting up and past Hobson. Hobson, who is saving fuel as much as possible. He is really trying not to pay that price. He doesn't want to pay that $60-odd for that tank of fuel at the moment.
Yeah, definitely not. If he makes it home on this tank, it'd be only on an oily rag, I'd say.
And I think we're going to see Hobson dropping out of the top 10 as well, possibly. With that fuel save, I don't think it's going to work out for him. He just does not have enough of a lead to make it work. So that is it's going to be a big, tricky one for him to make it home in a good position. And that is, look, hats off to him for trying the different strategy. But that is it. When you gamble with strategy, sometimes it does not pay off. Daniel Hederscheid has managed to make up some positions, though. He came in early, remember. He was one of the first to stop. And I did say the early stop could pay off here with that undercut. And he has indeed got ahead of his teammate Foster. Foster is chasing him down, though. So Foster is charging hard to catch up to his teammate of Hederscheid, of course. Both in the chase. So neither of them are going to want to give up position. They're both going to want to try and finish ahead of each other. And try and get that position in the chase. And obviously, they're going to want to get it.
Yeah, definitely. I know that there's no team orders there. It's basically the same as Roland Dane, race but don't touch. So we'll have to see who comes out better there.
Stevie Dubb's hemorrhaging positions as well. He's just dropped back behind Josh Micklemore now. Stevie Dubb trying to make it home as well without having to use that extra stop for fuel.
Foster's right on the back of Hederscheid now, and he's making the move. So that damage on Daniel's car could be hindering him a little bit too. So.
Also, there is a good 15 laps difference on those tyres as well, and that's the other big thing, is Foster has got those nice fresh boots on as well, and that's going to really help him out here. Those really do help out. The one thing that Foster does not want to see is a late caution. The one thing that Jaden Russell, Hobson, they want to see now is a late caution. They want that yellow flag to come out desperately. They need it to come out if they're going to get anything from this race. But there are only 14 laps remaining right here. Jaden Russell is coming into pit lane. He can't make it any further. He's had to come into pit lane now, and that's going to drop him right out of this race. Meanwhile, Dyson is still going along. He's got the 86 of Wayne Burke just getting past him. Burke dropped right down the order. Unfortunately, Wayne Burke, he has really dropped off the position after leading the race and having a good run. He fell right down the order.
But that's given Burke his lap back, so he's now back on the lead lap. So that's one good thing. The first person on lap down is Matty Raymond. So we've got 12 cars now on the lead lap. So in some sense, Carl, I'm hoping for a late race caution, but in other sense, I hope it goes green all the way from here.
Exactly. We'd like to see races run green, but for dramatic purposes and for audience fun, a late caution here could be a really interesting one. As I say, it's gonna be a fascinating one to see if it does happen, because we've got drivers out there that have used up their tyre allocation. Some drivers have got a spare set of tyres up their sleeve as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do with that. And yeah, we've got a whole mixture of different things going on at the moment. So interesting to see. Just looking back a little bit further, Daniel Heddershide at the moment just defending against Maddie Ray, who is trying to work up his order. Daniel Heddershide just struggling with pace now, possibly a little bit of engine overheating for him. Just not quite able to get there, but of course his tyres will be dropping off as well. And he's got Jason Martin closing in very quickly on him. Jason Martin is absolutely gobbling up the gap. So he is really getting close. Josh Michaelmore is also sitting there in 6th position. So a good night for both the Mitch Motorsport entries. They will have preferred it to be a little bit higher up, but not a bad start to the chase for those at the moment. 10 laps remaining. But as you said before, the chase, 10 races. I mean, obviously it's nice to get a good start to it, but the winner of the chase, the first race of the chase, is not necessarily going to be the winner of the chase itself.
No, definitely not. I'm just looking at the times here. Everyone is in the 30s, except for the driver sitting in position 2, Mr. Foster. He's still lapping at 20 in the 29s, but the 6-second gap between him and Dyson, it goes from 5.7 to 6. So I think Mr. Foster may run out of laps here to chase Mr. Dyson down.
Yeah, he's only got 8 laps to do it in, so it's going to be very tricky unless Dyson makes a mistake. I think he is sitting pretty at the moment. Hobson has got a very, very small gap to himself and Daniel Heddershide. He is now just ahead of Heddershide, who's going to make a big lunge. Heddershide going down the inside. Hobson is really going to want to try and keep up ahead of this group, because otherwise he's going to drop back to 6th position. He's going to drop down the order very quickly, and I think Skurlock will catch on very quickly as well. We could see Hobson dropping all the way down into 7th or 8th position in this race before the end of it, because he is having to fuel save. Absolutely, a great job from Hobson for that fuel save, but it really didn't pay off tonight.
No, definitely not. And he's on 52 lap old tyres, where the other guys behind him, Daniel Heddershide, on saying that Daniel's just got past him. So I think we may see him tumble down, as you said, mate. May end up there. Yeah, look at this. He's can't fight these guys. There's just nothing he can do on those tyres and trying to save that fuel.
No, that's it. He's sort of in a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I mean, he's going to be very close on fuel. We saw that with his with the last time round, and it's going to be very tricky to make it home. Same for Stevie Dubb. He's still trying to do the long run as well, but he's dropped down into 9th position and make that 10th position as Reuben Phelps gets past him. So Stevie Dubb, it's not really paying out for him at the moment, but sometimes it's just seeing if you can do it. So Stevie Dubb actually coming into pit lane, so he can't make it home on fuel. He's having to come in for that late stop. 5 laps to go, and that's going to be a painful pit stop to make.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not something you want to do. I'd be interested to see if Mr. Hobson can actually make it home. 55 laps. We know he got 59 out of that last tank, but oh geez, he's been mixed up with some battles.
Yeah, it's going to be very close for him. If he can get somebody in front of him and possibly get a little bit of draft, it could help him a little bit. But battle going on at the moment is between Heddershide and Martin. So Martin is really, really pushing the Atari car of Daniel Heddershide at the 035 at the moment. Martin really trying his best to get past. Martin wants to desperately get up there into third position. He led so many laps of this race tonight. And he's fallen back a little bit, but he looks like he's going to do it. The 21 getting down the inside right now. He's going to try for the exit of the corner. Heddershide comes down a little bit. Look at Micklemore now to making the attack. This battle is getting very spicy at the moment between these three cars. And then just sitting in a little bit further back is Michael Skurlock. He's just got past Hobson. So Skurley is just sitting there, and he's just going to be watching this fight going, if you guys have a bit of a mistake, if you guys wreck, I'm just going to sail past and up into P3. Will we see Skurlock do the old Bradbury approach and just skate his way through?
Yeah, it's well on the cards with 2 laps, although Martin's just dropped back that little bit, and then there he closes right up on the entry. He's got to get up alongside him to get the drive, and I don't think he's going to do it here. Maybe the last lap on the white flag, you may see him take a dive. It's a hard one. It's a long chase, as you said, Carl, 10 rounds. So you may be just better off settling for the spots and seeing where the dice ends up at the end. Although Martin just had a bit of a lose there, and that's allowed his teammate through, Micklemore, to come through on him.
It has indeed. And up at the front, it is Dyson. The white flag is out, and he's going to come across, and he is going to take the victory in the first round of the chase. It is the orange DPR car of Andrew Dyson taking the victory. Foster comes home second. And who is going to come home third? Will it be Heddershide? Will it be Micklemore? Or will it be Martin? Looks like it is going to be Heddershide at the moment. Looks like that damage has not hurt him too much. Heddershide looking to make it home in third position. Martin making a lunge on his teammate now. It's Martin and Micklemore behind, fighting it out for fourth position. Martin gets loose on the exit. It is Martin just making it. No, it is Micklemore. Micklemore just gets ahead of Martin there. Martin just making that slight mistake out of the exit. Skurlock coming home in sixth position. Seventh for Hobson. He does make it with that tank of fuel. A epic run, 60 laps stint there on fuel for Hobson. Lachlan Urquio coming home in 8th position. A good run for him in the top 10. Reuben Phelps coming home 9th. Won't be too disappointed with that. 11 positions gained in the race. And Wayne Burke comes home in 10th position.
Yeah, definitely great. Some great strategy race this one has been, and it just goes to show you, if you hold your nerve, you can do this. And I'll tell you what, I definitely wouldn't want to be in real life, and I reckon that car of Hobson's would have been coughing and splattering coming across that finish line.
Yeah, I think that thing was running on the sniff of an oily rag, and I'm pretty sure he spluttered across the line with absolutely no fuel in there. Yeah, it was spluttering. He just got across the line with that thing just holding on and ran out of fuel just as he got across the finish line. That was it for him, and there was no more fuel left in that car. So Hobson just made it home. He gets he saved himself a couple of bucks on fuel, but he probably lost a few positions by trying that free stop strategy. So let's run through the results. Again, the unofficial results as they stand is Andrew Dyson taking out the first win of the chase, with Foster in second, Heddershide in third. Good run for Natari tonight. Josh Micklemore fourth, with Jason Martin in fifth position. Sixth was Skurlock, Hobson seventh, eighth for Urquio, ninth for Phelps, Burke in 10th. As we roll over the pages, it was Jaden Russell in 11th, Matty Ray in 12th position, Norman Clark in 13th, Darren Lobb 14th, Stevie Dubb coming home 15th after that late stop, Noddy Tompkins home in 16th position, Neil Pearson, unfortunate with a connection issue, 17th 17th position, Tristan Koch 18th, Jamie Nankervis 19th, 20th for Tom Freer, and Dave Douglas we saw disconnect early, unfortunately, out of this race way too soon in 21st position.
Well, it's definitely an interesting chase start. So it'd be interesting to see next week at Kansas. Kansas is a 1.5-mile track, I believe.
Yes, I think so. Having to remember now. Yeah, mile and a half. Mile and a half of Rival, that's the one. So it's going to be a slightly different race, and this is going to be an interesting one. And look, that brought us a really good race in the end. Some really interesting stuff and lots of different strategies. So let's start by dragging up our third place finisher for Natari Autosport, Mr. Daniel Hedersheed. Daniel Hedersheed, welcome to the booth 035. Congratulations on a podium finish here tonight at Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, it's actually my first finish here, so to get the podium as well, that's awesome. And yeah, with a silly mistake in that final pit stop, it's still come out in the top 3. I'll take that any day.
I was about to say, it almost wasn't a finish for you. That was a very hairy pit stop at the end. So, question is, were you deciding to make that pit stop at a late call, or was that a slight mistake going into pit lane?
Yeah, it was a late call. It took too long for me to decide whether I was putting that lap or the next lap, and yeah, I thought I could have pulled it up, but obviously not good enough.
Well, good enough, but you still netted a P3 and you got that undercut working for you brilliantly. You jumped a fair few cars in that pit stop as well. That early stop really helped get a little bit of time over the cars that you were battling with. So it definitely looked like it paid off, but how much damage did you get and how much did that affect you towards the end of the race?
Funny enough, the car actually felt really good after that pit stop. I don't know if it bent something into place or what, but it felt really good. Obviously, not at the end of the stint when I had the two Mitch guys chasing me down, but after the pit stop, it was the best car I'd had all night. Surprisingly, I had about a minute of optionals in the pit lane, but yeah, it didn't really seem to affect my pace at all.
The Russian Spanner does it again, smashing on to the car and making it better to drive. Obviously, that last bit of the race, how happy were you to see Josh Micklemore and Jason Martin start battling each other?
Yeah, I thought that was quite good. I actually thought they had decided to give Josh a go at trying to get me, but then they started dropping back with a couple laps to go, and yeah, I started rubbing my hands together, thinking, oh, the podium might be on here.
And it was indeed a P3, a great start to the chase as well for yourself.
Yeah, I was just hoping for a nice top 10. I was just hoping to finish, like I say. I've raced this track a couple times now in ANZCAR, and I'm yet to finish. So, a podium. I was struggling all night. I was probably being a bit conservative because I didn't want to wreck out of the race. I got stuck behind Jason for quite a long time just because I didn't really have it in me to try and make the pass. So I had to try and do something with that pit stop, and yeah, I mean it worked out.
It worked out indeed. Look, congratulations on tonight. Obviously, a long way to go in the chase still, but I imagine this finish will make you feel a little bit more confident coming into the next 9 rounds.
Yep, it's definitely the start that we wanted. I wasn't really expecting it. I knew we'd be up there somewhere, but to beat the likes of Hobbo and, I mean, Pearson got a bit unlucky. Well, he got really unlucky there with his internet, and Skirley. So yeah, and both of the Mitch boys to be in front of all them in the first round. Yeah, it's I'm really happy with that.
But definitely well deserved tonight. Congratulations on the P3. Before I let you go, the usual thing of shout out and love to sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, just a shout out to Ed and Norm. They were good coaching through the race and trying to work out strategies. Fully Floored and AJD Services, and yeah, ANZCAR in general for putting all this on. It's an awesome series, and you guys been in that broadcast booth every week.
No worries. Thank you so much, Daniel. Have a great race, and hopefully we'll chat to you again in the very near future.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
So next up for Natari, we'll grab up the Godfather himself, the 2-time chase winner and champion of ANZCAR coming into this, of course, Mr. Edward Foster. Edward, congratulations on a P2 tonight. A surprisingly good start to your chase contention.
Yeah, I mean, the last couple of years I've had really bad rounds here. Like first round of the chase has been terrible. And yeah, I'm kind of looking at a few guys who were looking fairly fast. I'm like, look, if I can sort of at least get home with a, sort of decent top 10 or something like that, that'd be okay. That'll be something to build from. So, yeah, P2, can't complain at all.
No, especially after that first stop. Looked like the right side tyres only didn't work out too well for you.
Well, I didn't take any tyres at that first stop.
Okie dokie.
I thought that everybody, because we're kind of looking at a two-stop race to get home anyway, and we've only got three new sets of tyres to take during the race, so I wanted to save it. And I came in, I thought, after only 30 laps, there was quite a bit of drop-off, but I thought everybody was going to do the same thing, and I didn't want to be the only guy to waste a set. And then everybody changed tyres, and I'm sitting there in the lead going, this probably isn't going to be brilliant. And it wasn't brilliant.
No, we saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody went charging past me, but I was just kind of, driving around. I wasn't, panicking or anything, just kind of driving around and hoping that that something else was going to happen. And then sure enough, about 5-6 laps later, we got that second caution. I was able to come down, and that kind of put me a little bit off strategy with everybody else throughout the night. And it sort of paid off. I was able to run a bit long. A lot of guys were sort of pitting before they had to, getting those new tyres on, which sort of allowed me to, sort of suffer the pain a little bit and then come in, get the tyres and come burning back through. And I really tried to give Daiso something to think about at the end there, but I didn't have enough tyre advantage, and I took a lot out of him trying to get to him. And then after he put his foot down as well and sort of responded, I backed right off and thought, okay, well, I'm not going to catch him, so I'll save my tyres just in case we get a green-white checker or something at the end, and hopefully be on better rubber than him, and maybe we could do something. But it ran green, and P2 it is.
Look, congratulations on that one. You have to forgive us because we, unfortunately, on the broadcast and on the views, it looked like you just changed the right sides. The good old thing of iRacing sometimes. So we had the question of if you had changed those tyres, and then there was question if you had tyres left for the end of the race. So you'll probably hear that when you go for the replay and go, what are you guys talking about? So just to explain that to you.
I've been around too long to expect you to be right, mate. That's fine.
I'll blame Mark for this one.
Thanks very much.
All right, throw him under the bus, mate. Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, it was a really good start to the chase for you, obviously. Some really good fights out there as well tonight. It wasn't an easy P2 to come by.
Not at all. No. I mean, that little bit of strategy at the beginning that, sort of a mistake that turned out to be great, like that gave me the tyre advantage I needed. And my tyre life on the long run was pretty good anyway. I don't think that there were too many guys in that sort of front pack that were better on their tyres than I was. Like when I was sitting in the back of that line, lots of guys were starting to get loose and rub the wall and those kind of things, and I was absolutely fine. So I think that I had pretty good long run pace anyway. But the ability to sort of have that in conjunction with having newer tyres sort of enabled me to come up, drive through the field. I can't remember how many cars I passed tonight, but it seems every couple of laps I was getting onto somebody and able to make a move and stuff. And you don't normally get a lot of passing at Darlington, so it was it was pretty fun to come through the pack a couple of times.
It's definitely not the easiest track to pass on, but you got it done nicely, and you gave us some exciting stuff. Just on the initial restart after that first caution as well, we saw 3 wide with yourself, Jason. I think it was Neil Pearson as well. Holding your breath a little bit with that one?
Nah, look, I mean, I could see him doing it, but like, those 2 other guys are 2 of the best guys we have. So they're not gonna, if I knew if I was able to stay up by the wall and run close enough to the wall to give those guys a couple of lanes to work in, I knew we weren't going to have a problem. I expected one of them to roll out. In the end, I think Pearson thought better of it and decided to roll out and made his move later on. So, yeah, no harm, no foul. I was watching, but, I was just kind of looking after my part of it and trusted them to do the rest.
Look, congratulations tonight. A good start for the chase, as we said, for yourself. So that must be a little bit of weight off your mind. But as you know, it's a long way to go, 9 more races, and anything can happen. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I do enjoy these championship fights. They're fun. The chases are always fun. It's I don't really know what it is, but it tends to bring the best out in us when there's a little bit of pressure on and those kind of things. So let's possibly hope it happens again. I mean, Daiso and Hobbo have had a lot of success through the regular season, and a betting man would probably pick one of those guys for the championship. But I'm looking forward to watching that fight. They seem very, very close. On outright pace, Pearson's there too. Martin's coming good. Micklemore's coming good. There are guys all over the place who've got a chance. And if we can throw ourselves in the mix and get some good results out of it, who knows? We'll it's sounds like not that many races, but I mean this season doesn't finish to November, so it's still early days yet.
No, absolutely. Look, congratulations for tonight. Look, the usual thing for the finish, the shout out and love to sponsors and people in general.
Yeah, definitely. So AJD and Fully Floored are team sponsors, of course. You guys for putting on the broadcast, and all the guys who came out tonight. Like Darlington often scares people away. It was a bit of a smaller field because of a really difficult track, but at the same time, the guys who did show were really good. Everybody worked together, and that's what you have to do around here is really work together to stay out of issues, and everybody sort of did that. And shout out to Daniel as well for getting that P3. He kind of had a bit of a setback in the pit lane, which I'm sure you'll talk to him about. And he had a fight on his hands towards the end. He certainly had a lot more on his plate than I did. So for him to get P3 is awesome.
Look, congratulations, and look, you can try and be the second Foster to bring home a championship this year.
Well, can try. I mean, I already got the truck one earlier on as well, so I might count that if this goes pear-shaped. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's just I'm pretty relaxed about it. To be perfectly honest, I've got a couple there now, and I'm literally just here to have a good battle with everybody and really get in the mix. And I'm really hoping that going into Phoenix, we've got 4 or 5 guys with a chance at the title. I reckon that'll be amazing. So if we can do that and be part of it, it'd be great.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, Edward Foster. We hope to see you back in the booth soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Catch ya.
Of course, the other Foster being James Foster, taking out the Australian Sports Car Championship. Congratulations to him. And finally, we're going to be dragging up our race winner, the orange flavour of DPR car, Mr. Andrew Dyson. Dyson, welcome back to the booth. It seems like we get to chat to you nice and often, which is something I love to do. Congratulations on another victory this year in the ANZCAR Cup, and of course, taking out the first victory of the chase.
Hey guys, how you going? Thanks, man. That's a good one to get off. Good way to get a start into the chase.
It's always nice to get a win, and look, in the chase, getting that first win is always a nice thing to do as well. It's a good way to kick it off, but as you know, we've got 9 more races in the chase, and it's a long way to go to the end, but this must make you feel a little bit more confident going into those next 9 races.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. I'm sure we'll be echoing exactly what the other 2 guys have said. If I said that it's a good way to start and it's a long way to go, so we're just got to keep it clean and all the rest of it. You know how it goes. So, but yeah, you're right, mate. It's good.
No, it was not a straightforward race out there tonight. I mean, you sort of started 7th, came home with the win, but you had to work for it. It was definitely a lot of work out on the track tonight.
Yeah, a little bit of strategy involved. I think really only passed probably 1 or 2 cars per position on the road. Thinking back about it, maybe 1 in the pits, but they quickly got me back anyway. So I think mostly the race was played out in strat. I think guys taking different or taking tyres and not taking tyres. Well, there was one guy in particular. I'm pretty sure he finished second. He had a bit of a different strat working, and other guys just taking tyres at different times. But for sure, I'm sure the walls around here played a part in that as well. I know they did for me a little bit. Luckily, I made sure I focused. Not luckily. I mean, I made sure I focused on not touching the fence out of 2, or getting to the fence in the middle of 1 and 2. And if I rubbed the fence in 3 and 4, I wasn't going to be too mad about it. And I did a few times. I did probably one time a bit too hard. And so in that case, I guess I was feeling a little lucky to get away with it. But look, it was that was my plan going into it, and I stuck to it.
Look, it wouldn't be Darlington if you didn't get a stripe out of it. So you've got to do that here. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, funny, if anyone from work's listening today, you got to risk it to get the biscuit, and they'll get the joke on that. But yeah, that's exactly what you got to do sometimes.
No, look, a great run from yourself. Just quickly on that second caution, obviously you came in on that first caution, got some tyres. What were you considering coming in just to top up on fuel, or were you pretty much set on your strategy?
No, not really. I was asleep at the wheel. And Neil took off in the pits, and I saw a couple of others go, and I thought, "Ooh, that's awkward. Like, have I missed something?" And then I thought about it, and I thought, "Gee, there's not many cars here tonight. Like, the grid wasn't super long, so if you fall way back, you're not really losing out on all that much track position, and you're going to get a little bit more fuel. And if it goes green the whole way, that could help. Obviously, didn't quite play out that way. I mean, I think Neil still would have done all right, but unfortunately, he had that issue. But yeah, I wasn't considering pitting at all to answer your question.
Look, let's hope his luck turns turns the other way around, because he's been having a bit of a bad run recently with pedal issues and internet issues. So hopefully we'll get Pearson back up in the booth soon. But for yourself, I mean, look, this is a beautiful way to start the chase off. I mean, you've had a solid year so far. I think this is win number 8 of the season. From my terrible chunky top of my head maths, but it has been a fantastic year for you, and it's a great start to the chase. So look, hopefully it continues on and we can see you fighting for that title when we get to Phoenix at the end of it.
Yeah, that's it, man. Like I said last week, we've just got to keep rolling up, do the best we can, stay out of trouble, know who we're racing, when to race them, all the rest of it. Everyone's got the same thing in mind, out there, and it showed tonight. Everyone was. There was some hard racing going on. I enjoyed some good racing out there for sure, but everyone had their thinking caps on and raced accordingly, so it was great. So we'll just keep doing that and see where we end up, see where we shake out. Also, I think it might have been 9 wins, but one of them was kind of unofficial. So, but I'm taking it. You know what I mean?
Oh, look, you always have to take it. But congratulations tonight, Daiso. The usual thing, shout out and love to all those sponsors and all of your fans.
Oh yeah, shout out to all the crew. I know they're watching in the DPR chat, so all my big dog fans in there. But no, seriously, thanks all the crew at DPR doing all their best work all the time. Love it. Yeah, and shout out to our sponsors that get behind us. Simrix.com, South Willis and Hoist, Max Mechanical, Phoenix Smokers, and MP Designs for all the rest of the stuff. And I did get to say last week, thanks so much to Linda, if she's listening. She helped out a great deal with some stuff that the team and I got, specifically some merchandise. So it looks super awesome, and they did a great job. And Jimmy helped out with that too. So thanks so much to those guys for that. And of course, I can't leave without saying thanks to all the series sponsors and all the guys behind the scenes that helped put this series together. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Daiso. Look, have a great run. I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth soon. And other than that, have a great week.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Andrew Dyson there for DPR, taking the victory here tonight. Great run here at Darlington. Mark, thoughts on that race?
Wow, it's definitely opened the chase right up to start the thing off. Some great strategy there. Some great driving. Now the thing is, who do you put your money on? Ed started off great. Dyson started out great with a win. And there's some hard luck stories there, as you said, Carl. And Pearson's drop out, Dave Douglas with his drop out. So there's a few guys there that have missed some vital points, and bring on the other 9 weeks.
Oh, absolutely. We're looking forward to the next few races in the chase. Matt, your final thoughts on this round?
Yeah, good to see a few drivers look like they are improving their form. They might have been having a bit of a rough start to the year and through the middle, and timing their form peaking to this chase 10 rounds. So hopefully it continues and we have a really close field throughout the top 10 for the chase.
Oh, absolutely. And we look forward to you all watching as well. We hope you can catch us for the next 9 rounds of the chase for the 24/7 Sim Services ANZCAR Cup series. From myself, Carl Wilkinson, with you, Mr. Mark Johansson, and of course, Maddie Hunter doing all the work on the cameras, the lovely graphics, and all the hard work in the background. We wish you a good night, and we'll see you next time out at Kansas. Good night, all.